Hey everyone, how's it going? Nate here from Octave Studios. I hope you are all having yourselves a great week, and I hope you all took something away from the podcast episode that we aired with DJ Temple a few weeks ago. There's another one coming out this coming week, not in video form, but just in audio form on all of our streaming platforms, and it's featuring BG of local band Smokeout. So go and check that out when it drops. But this week we're going to cover something that I think everyone is going to need when it comes to getting tracks ready to send off to people, and that's consolidating your files. We're going to cover it in Reaper, Cubase, and BandLab or Sonar, whichever version you are running. So let's get into it.
Stand up, get hyped tonight, better do everything that you can do to make it through. I'm telling you, we about to make some history, so come with me.
Okay, so as you can see here, I have Reaper open, and I have some vocals from a session with a grunge band that I'm currently working with from Lethbridge, Alberta. So let's just give them a quick listen. And as you can see here, they're chopped up into a bunch of pieces that have all this open space. So what we want to do is make sure that this open space isn't there anymore. And we're just going to focus on one vocal per track. So again, I want to show you this in Reaper, Cubase, as well as in Sonar or BandLab, whichever version you guys usually use. So what you want to do within here is scroll back, arm to record quickly, record like a few seconds of nonsense. There we go. And just for shits and giggles, because this was doing that thing, we'll bring that back there. So we have our endpoint because this is where our song is going to be ending. And so what you'll want to do is right click, hold all the way to the end. So you highlight all of these tracks, right click again, and you'll see this file or this thing that says glue items. Now, if you do that, now we have our full take. Isn't that just fantastic? And as you can see, I've actually already done this for all of these tracks in the document already. So it's actually fairly easy to see how it's beneficial because they all line up exactly how we need them to. So now what you want to do, take the track you've highlighted, or all of them, set your project regions. And this is where it's handy for you to take note. If we were in the original project, I would have the tempo, I would have different markers with like the verse, the chorus, all of that. If you do have those, write them down. Let them know what beat you are, like all these are on. So if you have a verse marker on beat 17, let them know that. If you have a tempo change at beat 37, write that down in a note document or on a piece of paper so that you can write it up in a Word document to send to whoever you're sending these to. Because not only are you going to want to be able to send it so that you can have them all just line up, if you have markers and tempo changes, you want to be able to let the person know so they can set everything up beforehand and then give you a little bit of help with getting everything together. So as we were saying, now we will take this, our project regions are set. We want to consolidate and export tracks. We want to do it within the time selection for the selected track. Pick your formatting, go with whatever your device is set to, and then find your file. I already have it set up to, actually no, we're going to change this to the network we want everything else to be on. So we'll go to our Seagate, we'll go to here, here, there we go. Put it right there. And to save new project, we're not going to save a new project. We're just going to have it be this way. And there we go. So we have our first consolidated file. If we go and pull it up now, it is right in here. And what you'll want to do is actually probably organize it a bit better. So we're going to go and consolidate it again. And we're actually going to put it in its own folder within here. Check to make sure it's where we want it. There it is. And as you should know, Reaper likes to create its own backup file so it knows where to reference it. So we know where it is in Reaper. Great. Let's move on to Sonar. Okay, so as you can see, I have the project open here in Sonar as well. It's a very interesting DAW. This is the one I started with way back when. And so same thing, we're going to want to use this track here. And let's do the same thing. Let's go to the very beginning of the track. Let's arm it. Let's record a few seconds. Cool. What did it give us? Oh, I bet you we got a little bit of click-clack that we didn't want here. Let's see. Yeah, we got some metronome, so let's delete that and let's turn the click off. There it is. Let's go back to the beginning here. There. Now it made a stereo track for me, and I don't really think I want that. So let's quickly change it to a left input so that we only get a mono. Perfect. Now let's scroll out a bit so we can see everything. Let's do the same thing with this that we did with the other one. Now let's right click and let's bounce to a clip. And this will be the same thing as gluing it down, except it's going to mix it down into its own file. So make sure you don't have any effects on here because that will mess with it. But there we go. See, now we have that set up. Project region's going. We got this clip highlighted. Let's export audio. And not the entire mix. We just want to export track 1. And we're going to go all the way to the exact same area we were in for the other one. And we're going to create a new folder for Sonar. Make sure it's at the sample rate we want. Make sure everything we have is necessary, and let's export the track. So as you can see right here, it says that's mixing down. That's one thing I do like. It does give you a little bit of a progress bar. Let's go over here. Let's see if we got it. We got it. Cool. Well, let's move on to Cubase. All right, so we're in Cubase now. So we're going to want to do the same thing we did in Sonar and in Reaper. So that's make sure we have our track armed, record a little bit of audio, go and make sure you have both highlighted, go to audio and then hit bounce selection. Replace the events in there. And now let's do the same thing we were doing for the entire thing. First, let's set our project regions. Wait for that little thing to pop up. And you want it to look blue, just like that. Oh, and let's make sure we got everything we wanted. Oh my. Here we go. Let's go and do that again. Everything's lined up how we want it to be. Export. Selected track. Let's make sure you have the track selected. Selected tracks. We want to copy it. We're going to go to the exact same area we went for the last one, except we're going to make it a Cubase file. Now, if I go in here, I should be able to find it right there. All right, so now let's go open Reaper up again and see if they all lined up. All right, so we are back in Reaper. Let's add a few tracks so that we can see our examples. Let's minimize all this because we don't need to see it all. And let's check the most recent one we did. Let's check the Cubase one. That lined up wonderfully. Let's call this Cubase example. Now let's make this one our Sonar example. Same thing. Let's go insert a track. Oh, this one didn't quite line up properly and it exported into a stereo track. So we're going to go back quickly and check this one in a second. But let's check our Reaper file quickly. That one lines up great. So now we want to go and check our Sonar file. We'll save this quickly so we have everything there. And let's go see what we did wrong to get a stereo file. There's nothing wrong with stereo. If you're using Reaper, you can easily right-click, go to Item Settings, and you can have a few options here to downmix it down to mono. But it's better to just have a mono track already if it's supposed to be a mono track. So let's go check out Sonar one more time. Okay, so let's go back. Let's record that little bit of audio. Make sure that click is off. Good. Is it in stereo or is it in mono? It is in mono. Good. So let's go and bounce the selection again. Okay. So as far as we know, these should all be the same length. These should all be good for what we need. Let's now see what happens if we want to export it. Okay, so notice how we had this set as a stereo track before. We want it set to mono. We want to make sure we have our track set. And let's go back to where we had everything situated the first time around. And let's export. All right, let's see what happens now. And I think we might still not have it right, and this might come down to a little thing called sample rate, but we'll find out and see if we're lucky right now. Yeah, it seems like something is just a little off here, doesn't it? We have our audio, it's in mono, but we have this extra length, and it seems like certain things have been changed, so to say. Or wait a tick. We thought we were wrong, but what we didn't realize is we actually worked with a different audio track here. And as you can see, if we zoom in, it lined up perfectly as well. So if we solo these two together,
Can you see?
those worked. Let's check the end here.
Can you see?
Nice, cool. And check the ending, make sure everything's good.
Can you see?
Cool, so those work. Now let's check our other examples quickly that Reaper and Cubase were based off of. And we'll test them both individually. This will be Reaper.
Please don't go. No, no, no.
Perfect. As you can see, all those work great. And if you did this for everything in your project, not just the one track, but every track, and you make sure everything's labeled properly in this screen. So notice how these are all like kind of labeled 36 main vocals. These are all ripped from a project I've already done this process for. But if you are going through and you know this is your main vocal here, name it main vocal. And do that in for every single one of your tracks. Let them know if it's a kick, if it's a snare, if it's a tom, which tom it is, if it's a vocal, if it's a harmony vocal, if it's a backing vocal, left guitar, right guitar, etc., etc. And then if you have it all organized and layered out and you've done this little bit of prep, recording that little bit at the start so that everything has a start time, written down all of your tempo changes, all of your markers, now you'll be able to go through this consolidation process and send it to either your bandmate to work on, if you guys are just sending stuff back and forth, or to the mixing engineer that you want to work on your stuff, or your editing engineer, or whomever. This is really good stuff to know. Practice it, obviously. Make sure you got it figured out. Make sure you got your sample rates figured out. Make sure you got your settings proper. Make sure you got your project bounds set up properly. Just do everything you can to make sure that this is a very second nature task for you, because it'll be handy for after you're done editing, or it'll be handy for once you're done recording and want to send it off to someone to work on to edit, mix, or master. I hope that was helpful. Please let me know what you thought. Leave a comment down in the description below. Check out the Concrete Wasteland on Saturday when we have our new episode dropping with BG of local band Smokeout. Follow me on Instagram if you want, and have yourself a good day.